Okay, firstly, happy 4th of July. I hope all is well. I actually didn't enjoy 4th of July. I was at work. I've been at work since Sunday. Yes, Sunday, last week, Sunday, June 28th. Okay, let's dive right in. Today I'm going to be discussing risk management um, with the matrix we have. And my three scenarios I have is fatigue, weight and balance, and fuel management. Now, although I haven't worked in aviation yet, and I don't have that much experience in aviation, what I can say is with these three scenarios, driving trucks, you an operator will experience fatigue. You do have weight and balance, possible errors, and fuel management as far as uh, going along with your loads or with the weight. My first scenario with uh, fuel, let's see, fatigue. Fatigue is basically a state of mental or physical depletion, whether it be from uh, lack of sleep or an extensive heavy workload. Um, Fatigue can cause decline, where a person will actually experience things that they would get from alcohol or possible drug side effects. Uh, Fatigue basically can put you in a state of where you're not conscious at all. So, first, we want to recognize this. Um, Most pilots or truck drivers in general will experience fatigue at nighttime. I have fatigue on a high scale just because it can be so frequent. You have 365 days in 1 year. Um, 75 years, 79 years of age is the average lifespan. So it can be pretty frequent when we can experience fatigue. And I have this severity on a severity scale as being catastrophic because the result can be death. The person falls asleep on the road. Um, like I said, it's like a person being drunk or possible overdose. Um, so you fall asleep, you won't wake up, you could potentially crash into someone else, loss of damage for company assets or so on. I have this where it lands high on the risk scale. My next scenario is going to be discussing aircraft weight. So um, this is pretty simple. If an aircraft isn't stable, if it's out of its stability triangle, um, it can be susceptible to stall, loss of control. If you don't have control, um, airplane's going to go down. If you don't have control on a truck, potentially crash into someone else. You could potentially go off the side of the road. And the way you would be overloaded or the load will be mismanaged on the truck is if you're potentially overloaded from the shipper, whoever's shipping the product. So you have to ensure that you review the paperwork. From a pilot standpoint, you have to review paperwork as well. You have your checklist before you go out to ensure that you're not overweight whenever you do the weight and balance for your payload with people, potential fuel. Ways that we can reduce that is just simply by going over our checklist. Um, I actually forgot to mention this in the first scenario, but you can actually do I'm safe. You can do self assessments on yourself to ensure that you don't, you know, cause it, you don't put yourself in a situation where you're a hazard. So I have this on it's a critical on a critical scale because this can also result in death. So plane stalls and you don't recover, you don't have control. Um, you could potentially be harmed where uh, you're on the death side. So um, my last scenario is along the lines of fuel management. So um, just simple. We're human. We make errors. Pilot's rushing. He leaves off the fuel cap. Now he's in the air. Fuel comes out. Now the plane's out of balance again. We spoke on that. Plane goes into a stall, or you're into a forced landing situation. So um, we have checklists though, and most of the time you may have another pilot on hand. There's also sensors, so we have technological advances now that'll be able to catch most of these errors. So, but overall, the aviation industry is pretty safe, the safest, I believe. Um, Safer than being in a vehicle. And most people won't believe that, but um, we just have to keep adjusting. Risks are they're going to be there, whether they're high or low. There's no way around it. The risks are going to be there. So we as humans, we just have to continue to learn to grow and identify those risks, um, as well as we have to seek out and use our resources. So assess the risks. Um, you know, is it on the critical scale? Is it on high, medium, low? Um, Analyze what control measures we can use to deviate from that risk. Um, Implement control decisions. Is it a management decision? Is it a decision where it's just us solely on ourselves? Um, and supervise and review the information. Um, review. Everything in this world will always be a review process. So this is my YouTube presentation over risk management. Happy 4th.